Hello and welcome, guys, to my latest video on Central Park. I know that those of I know that I recently got the community tabs, and people have been wanting me to cover this show. People who subscribe because I upload songs every week, and here we go. I was gonna do them either way, so let's get started. So yes, I really like this show. I'm gonna say it. I know a lot of people don't really like the show. Like, if you go on like IMDb or like I've seen on some reviews, they say like the show sucks. It's terrible. It's boring. But I'm gonna ignore them anyway and say I really like the show. And unlike my last show that I covered, Crossing Swords, which was this show is really good. So, but for those of you who don't know Central Park, you know what it's about. So some people just watch the songs, but they haven't checked out the show yet. So Central Park is an animated sitcom which was originally made for Fox, and they passed on it, and then eventually it went into a bidding war between Apple, Netflix, and Hulu, and Apple won the bid from 20th Century Fox, and they got a 2-season original order of 26 episodes. So I think season 2 is likely going to have 16 episodes. But anyways, Central Park is from co-creators Lauren Bouchard and Josh Gad. Josh Gad is from Josh. You guys know Josh Gad from Frozen, the Book of Mormon, and other stuff like that. And you know Lauren Bouchard as the creator of Bob's Burgers. And of course, for those of you who really love Bob's Burgers on Fox, there is another show from Lauren Bouchard coming to Fox called The Great North, which will premiere in January of 2021. But anyways, on to Central Park. So Central Park is about a biracial family who lives in the heart of New York City, the Big Apple. From left to right, if we go from this image, Cole is on the left. He's the youngest. He's the youngest child. He enjoys animals. He's really obsessed with. Like in one of the episodes, he's really obsessed with the squirrel hunting or something. And like he doesn't want to hurt animals. He especially loves them. Paige is the mom. She's the news. She's the one who always trying to get a good scoop on news because her boss always gives her lame stuff to cover, but she actually wants to cover something big. Owen Tillerman, who's the second from the right, is the park manager of Central Park, and he takes really great passion in his job. And finally, we have Molly, the daughter of the family, and she loves drawing. That's her hobby. In her she draws comics, and in her comics, she pretends she's a superhero who fights with her hair. Now I'm gonna say it. Out of all these four, Molly is by far my favorite. Anyways, we're going on to the other supporting characters. So we have Bitsy. Bitsy's the old short lady in the pink shirt. She's a billionaire who lives right across from Central Park, and once her dog gets lost in Central Park and Cole finds the dog, she makes it her goal to destroy Central Park because her dog ran away there, and she didn't ever want to lose her again. And plus, she wants to make even more money. And her assistant, who's on the left of her, Helen, really wants Bitsy to die so she can get all the inheritance money, because Bitsy has no one on her will. So you have the supporting cast. Mayor Whitney Whitebaum, who's on the right, he's a recurring character. He's not one of the main characters, but he does appear from time to time, and he's definitely going to continue appearing in the series. But I want to cover one last character real quick. This next character is Birdie. Birdie is unique because he's the narrator of the show. And, he knows what's going on in almost everything, but at the same time, he can also interact with the characters at the same time. So it's definitely like, like Bob's Burgers is pretty much like, except for a few cartoony moments, Bob's Burgers is pretty much grounded in realism. Like none of the episodes have something like actual magical powers or stuff like other cartoons, and you know, but with Central Park, if we go back to Birdie, uh, I think Birdie kind of defies the typical Lauren Bouchard thing in the sense that he can interact with the main cast, even though Central Park is also grounded in realism itself in a way. It just feels kind of weird to me. I mean, I get that it tries to make the show kind of stand out by having a narrator. Personally, I think Birdie's fine. He does appear too much in the first few episodes though, and it gets kind of annoying because we want to find out what's going on, then he straight up tells you what's going on. But in the later episodes, he's actually shown to be pretty funny at times, and like he's actually more than just a narrator. Like he does it because he cares about the tournaments, which is nice to watch. And I do like how the later episodes even like tone down his narration, because the first 2 episodes, I think he was he was narrating the show for like what 3-4 minutes. And then, like, by the end of the season, he eventually got down to maybe, like, a minute of screen time, which is better. I mean, personally, like, I know people have been saying, get rid of Birdie, he sucks. I mean, I could see a need for Birdie. I think he's a fine character. But Birdie, like, unlike the characters in Bob's Burgers, Birdie doesn't really stand out to me as much as the others. Like in Bob's Burgers, everyone is essential. Like if you remove one of everyone in Bob's Burgers, you don't have Bob's Burgers. You move Teddy. If you remove Teddy, if you remove Teddy, you don't get all those funny. You don't get all those seriously hilarious interactions he has with Bob. If you remove Louise, you basically don't have the most funniest kid on the show. If you remove Gene, you basically the show wouldn't really have much of its musical aspect. I mean, I know people find Gene annoying because he mostly does fart stuff, but I think Gene personally like has all those, like, I know he's passionate into music, but he also has like those he also has those moments where like he can just pop in and say anything funny, and like most of it is just references to other medias. But I think Tina plays somewhat of a central role in Bob's Burgers. I know like people don't like Tina because like people say she's annoying, like she only really cares about boys. I mean, I think Tina comes in when she needs to. I mean, Tina's just a teenager, and like without Tina, you wouldn't have any of those great teenager stories that Bob's Burgers has. Then there's just the happy, carefree wife, and without her, you wouldn't have a lot of funny mom stories. And then, of course, if you don't have Bob, you don't have Bob's Burgers at all. But I mean, like with Central Park, you could say that you could remove one of the characters like Cole, and like the show wouldn't really change. I mean, I think Molly, Paige, and Owen are pretty essential to the show. Cole, not so much. Bitsy and Helen, yes. Birdie, not so much either. But do you see how I'm comparing Bob's Burgers and Central Park, and just in the fact that Bob's Burgers has a reason for all these characters to exist, while Central Park, these characters are fine, but they don't really have Birdie and Cole don't really have a reason to exist. So now we're going on to the comedy. I personally think Bob's Burgers is just much better in its comedy than Central Park, like almost in every way. I mean, Central Park, yes, has some really funny moments, but none of them I don't think any of them come close to the peak of Bob's Burgers. And I mean, maybe that's unfair that it's coming from season 1 of Central Park comparing to 9 great seasons of Bob's Burgers. I know Bob's Burgers season 1 wasn't great, but considering the fact that Lauren Bouchard has been working on Bob's Burgers for 9 years, you'd think he would have some experience with writing and making comedy and animated sitcoms. And I know most of the writers from Central Park also come from Bob's Burgers. Like Jeff Drake is the husband of Wendy Molyneux, and Wendy Molyneux is easily one of the best writers of Bob's Burgers. Rachel Hastings writes for the Bob's Burgers comics. Oh, and by the way, Rachel Hastings does write my favorite episode in the entire series. So I think she has more of the Bob's Burgers. I think she gets it for the Bob's Burgers kind of thing. I know most of the staff is completely new. I know most of them work at Bob's Burgers because both shows are animated by Bento Box, so most of the writers and the directors and animators are from Bob's Burgers. I know there's a different post, but anyway, I think I'm getting a little off topic here. So I just wanted to show you some clips that compare the two comedies, kind of.
Everything set for the ad tomorrow? Page 4? That's fine. Park management's gonna freak the freak out. Why aren't you laughing? Ugh, never mind. That sounded forced. Okay, bye. Damn it, Champagne! Did you pee in the bed again? Why? Pee in your own bed like a gentleman. Helen, call the pet therapist. Tell him it's an emergency. He needs to be here right after breakfast tomorrow.
So are we talking noon?
3. What are we, Quakers?
Cole, stop running! You're my responsibility. You can't take off like that.
I don't want to die.
I get it. That bat swarm was crazy. One of them bumped into the back of my neck.
Hold on. Did you get bumped or bitten?
Bumped. Why?
Because you're scratching, Molly. Seems like you got bit, which could only mean one thing.
Rabies?
You're a vampire!
Cole, I'm not a vampire. Come back. Back. I didn't mean to say bat.
I heard bat!
You know what I meant. Oh, great.
One of the benefits of being a narrator is you can do your job from anywhere. So, like, while it's raining, I can stay here where it's dry and safe.
Oh, no! Bat! So anyway, yeah, that's the entire plot of the Harry Potter series.
Great job.
That was long. Yeah, did I mention that I read it? I feel like I said that. Also, sorry I fell asleep. Ask a question.
What school do you go to? Unless you're homeschooled, which you seem kind of like you are just because you make a lot of eye contact with grown-ups.
Oh, I go to the Hickory Oak Pine School. Ooh, fancy.
Who wants to see me do a somersault?
I wonder how many you can do in a row.
So now that we talked about characters, we talked about comedy, we talked about what the show's about, now I want to get into episodes. So, my least favorite episode of Central Park is Skater Circle. Because Skater Circle has a subplot that just drastically brings the episode down. I know Skater Circle is the second episode of the series, but I think it has one of the most boring plots I've seen in the entire series. It's just Owen trying to break up a bunch of skaters who are skating, a skater gang who's skating in the park, and then it just ends up, and it's just a quick solution that, like, almost just nothing happens. It's just, oh, there's a problem and it's manually solved. I personally just didn't think that was a good, I just didn't think that plot was good, and yes, the plot with Molly is pretty funny, and yes, Skater Circle does have my favorite song in the entire series, Weirdos Make Great Superheroes, but personally, just that subplot, it just doesn't sit right with me. And my favorite episode of Central Park is Hot Oven, the 8th episode of the series. Hot Oven is an episode where 3 plots are going on at the same time. So Owen's trying to make the perfect pizza. Brendan comes over to Molly's house to meet his parents and the family, and of course Helen's just finding a way to get Champagne to betray Bitsy so she can be part of the will. It's just so funny how the overarching story is just Helen wants to get Bitsy's will, and Helen does so many creative, funny things. Like I'm getting off topic here, but in the 5th episode, Dog Spray Afternoon, she talks about she basically sings the entire song about if there's a will, there's a way, and how she'd get Bitsy's inheritance and stuff. It's just really funny to see, and the one thing about Hot Oven that I like is that it has Less a Birdie. There's only 3 songs and all of them are fantastic, and it's just really, really funny. And yes, there's a huge surprise at the end, so you should seriously check the show out. Yes, I know people compare this show a lot to Bob's Burgers, but personally, I don't think it really can. It doesn't have to live up to Bob's Burgers. I know personally, I prefer Bob's Burgers over this series anytime. Then again, Bob's Burgers has 10 seasons, and 9 of them are like, oh wow, like seasons 2 through 10 are like, wow, this is like some must-watch comedy TV. Like not even just anime and like just pure comedy. Like Bob's Burgers is easily one of the best comedy series I've ever seen in my life. And yes, Central Park does have a lot to live up to. There are high expectations from people who like Lauren Bouchard and Bob's Burgers. But personally, I don't think it has to be. I think it can be a different vibe. It's just like Family Guy and American Dad, how they both have the same art style. They come pretty much from the same people, but with while American Dad focuses more on character dynamics and stories, Family Guy focuses less on that and more on pop culture and flashback gags and random humor. So you see how between there and Bob's Burgers and Central Park, you can see how I don't think if you like one, you should kind of hate the other because they're kind of different, and I don't think Central Park has to live up to Bob's Burgers in any way possible. I personally think season 2 can be a lot better than season 1, and yes, I really enjoyed season 1, but I think season 2 could be just way better. But then again, it was the same with Bob's Burgers. I didn't really like season 1, and season 2 was just great. I loved it. But personally, I think Central Park has a lot going for it if you really think about the future. You know, with adult animation on the rise, people just want more shows, and like it'd be stupid of any network to cancel any new shows at the moment. Like you've seen, like it started with, I mean, even Tuca and Birdie was recently picked up by Adult Swim. So I mean, yes, adult animation is growing. You have shows like Duncanville, Solar Opposites, even Crossing Swords. For some reason, they all got picked up for new seasons just because the genre is so strong. And even before coronavirus, this was a thing. So don't just think because of coronavirus, people are just ordering more animated shows, which yes, is true to an extent, but even without coronavirus, this genre would still be growing. It'd be just stupid of networks to just cancel. Like if you're not gonna renew it, just don't commit. Like you're either gonna commit or not commit. And it's great that Apple has a great commitment behind Central Park, and I really cannot wait to see what season 2 holds for the show. And of course, with The Great North coming out in 2021, there will be more ways to differentiate all 3 of these shows: Bob's, The Great North, and Central Park. It's kind of, I mean, I guess you could say if The Great North is kind of like the Cleveland show, but then again, Lauren Bouchard, unlike Seth MacFarlane, is very involved in all his shows. So I think The Great North would start out pretty good. Like, personally, I think it could even start out better than Bless the Hearts and Duncanville, personally, for Fox's Block. And I know a lot more people are going to watch this just because it comes from the creators of Bob's Burgers. But I think personally, The Great North even has enough of its own to separate it from Bob's Burgers and Central Park. Anyways, I think we're getting a little bit off topic here. And, yeah. So far, I think Central Park is definitely worth the watch. It has some of the greatest. It has some great characters. I love the overarching story, and I love all the standout songs of the episodes. But I think that Central Park does have some characters that need a little more fleshing out. There's too much Birdie in some of the episodes, which gets a little annoying. And sometimes too many songs ruins the pacing of the episodes a little bit. But yeah, overall, I'm really impressed with this show. It's probably the best new adult animated show I've seen this year. I mean, yes, you have more acclaimed shows like Solar Opposites and The Midnight Gospel, even Close Enough. But then again, I mean, Solar Opposites and Close Enough aren't really original concepts. The only reason I like those shows is just because they're really funny and hilarious. But like with Central Park is actually trying to sort of reinvent the genre of family sitcoms, and for that I can appreciate the show. So there you go, guys. You have my thoughts on Central Park. Yes, this is a very long video, but it was covering all that people might have wanted me to think about or wanted me to say. I mean, it showed some clips, which, yeah, was good too. So tell me your thoughts on this show, and I'll see you guys next time.